we are good.
All right, everybody, we are back. Another episode of League One on the Rocks here for you. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. Joined by the man whose diary is titled Guinness. I'm sorry, Guinness Book of World Records. Brian, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, Rich. Not too bad.
Kind of butchered that joke, but oh well.
That's all right. I knew what you were going for. I was okay with it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to run you through some of the results from Week 11, and then we're going to dive right into the season up till now because we've progressed, I think, a third of the season now. So we have
Mhm.
plenty to talk about. I have a bunch of questions that I'm going to be throwing at Brian, and I'm super excited to do so because it's a little bit of creativity in these questions, and I think I upped the ante on how difficult these are going to be. So, and for the folks at home who are watching or listening, I did not share the outline with him before we started. I think I shared it with him 10, 15 minutes before we both logged on. So he has not seen the questions. He has
Nope.
not had time to prepare his questions. He's going to get a fresh take for you guys, and it's going to be so much fun to listen to.
Yeah. And if I say anything bad about your team, it's because I hate your team. Your team sucks, and so does mine. So it's fine.
It's a given. It's going to be a fun episode. So in week 11, we had 6 matches. We had one midweek, and we had 5 on Saturday. And we had a match that had to get the kickoff time had to be moved in Colorado due to lights, which you might have thought was going to be happening in Chattanooga, but nope, this time it's in Colorado.
It's the most League One thing ever.
Yeah. And then you have Omaha playing twice and stumbling twice. And then you have Chattanooga taking a vacation in Charlotte and then forgetting that they actually have to play a match while they're there. And then we have an update on the bottle and the barrel in Kentucky this time around. And then we had a face off between the 2022 league winner versus the 2022 Shield winner. And then we had Christian Cheney opening up a gymnastics studio in Omaha. So before we get too far into all this kind of stuff, let's go ahead and dive into what we're drinking tonight. So, Brian, what do you got on you?
Um, so if you guys saw my tweet a little bit before we went live, I've been in dad mode, so I have not had a chance to grab anything, and I did not have anything left over from the weekend because I drank it all watching Union Omaha fumble twice
Yep.
in a single week. So
Yep.
I am
So
sitting
true.
on water, so you guys are going to get bitter sober me takes, which I mean I suppose it's probably better than drunk me takes, but
So I, on the other hand, am starting off with some a Monster Energy drink, and then I am diving into Moscow Mules.
ooh,
So I had a little bit of ginger beer left over, just enough to give me a few Moscow Mules tonight. So I'm going to be diving into that here pretty soon. But I got to finish this energy drink first.
going
When I
fancy.
went when I went to the grocery store, I bought 2 energy drinks along with some of the ingredients for the Moscow Mules, and the lady at the register was asking if the energy drinks were after, and I said no, they're one's before, one's after, but I got to wait for the cocaine to take in or to kick in. And she gave me this look like she was horrified, like that I would openly admit that, and I just had to like tell her that's obviously a joke.
Listen, man, some people do cocaine.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna judge.
yeah,
I don't think the lady needs to be judging either. That's not cool, man.
yeah. Don't ask if you don't want the answer.
Right? If you're not ready to hear that somebody does cocaine, don't ask leading questions.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the first so like we said, Omaha did play twice. There was one club that did have a bye this week, and it was North Carolina. So no matter what was going to happen, they were going to sit at atop of the League One standings. So it was a good week off for them. Um, but to start off with, we had the Ice and Fire Cup between Northern Colorado and Central Valley Fuego. This one was actually start supposed to start later in the evening, but due to the lights that we mentioned earlier, they had to push the kickoff time earlier so that there would still be light when they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
But despite the change in the kickoff time, there were a surprising amount of people that showed up for the match.
Yeah, 1,137 for the first one, and obviously that eclipses their 522 normal when they're in a random location. So, um, doubling what you usually do is always a good thing, and that's not a bad little turnout, especially with the time change put in there. So, uh,
Yeah, and we'll hit on
good
this
turnout.
in just a bit, but being at a new stadium, changing the kickoff time, um, and this is after the team has changed their home field location on several occasions. They drew 10 times as many fans as Charlotte did for their home match. So credit to Northern Colorado for actually having fans that show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta have your fans show up, man.
Yeah. But we'll mention that count in Charlotte here in just a bit. But man, I tell you what, Northern Colorado, by halftime, it was 4-0.
No, just pounced on them.
Yeah.
But I
You
mean,
had,
did we really anybody not see this one coming? Honestly,
I don't think I had, so I did have Northern Colorado winning. I don't think that I saw a 4-1 victory coming, though.
probably not 4-1. No, I don't think I would have seen that either. But I mean, just Northern Colorado is a damn good team,
Yeah.
and we've seen Central Valley Fuego be not a good team for the vast majority of the third of the way through the season.
Yep.
So I mean, maybe not 4 goals in the first half, but I definitely saw them winning this match for sure.
I mean, aside from Central Valley's victory over Tormenta last week,
Hmm.
they've they've been essentially all L's the entire season, just straight loss after loss after loss.
Yeah.
I think they had a one win earlier in the season, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't think anybody voted for Central Valley to have a victory on in our poll on Twitter. So if there are any Central Valley front office people that are voting in those polls, you know which way they were going too.
Yeah. Yeah. Even they voted against themselves.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
But for Northern Colorado, Trevor Amon had 2 goals. One was a PK. Billy King had a goal and an assist, so he had a great evening as well.
Hmm.
And then the only goal for Central Valley was a PK, and it was Viljan Bijev converting it in just in the dying moments of the
Yeah.
match too, in the 88th minute.
Garbage time.
Yeah, I mean by that time nobody even cares. And I
No.
bet you, even with the game decided in like even before halftime, I bet you before the full time whistle, there were still more fans in the stands than at Charlotte.
Yeah, I could definitely see that for sure. Tim chiming
So
in here too, saying if they thought the Fuego would show up, they wouldn't have needed much to hold for lights. But yeah, I mean, Fuego doesn't show up and didn't in this match, so something's going on that they need to get figured out really quickly. We're a third of the
yeah,
way through the season. Like, I know when we had Lefty on, we were talking about the panic button, and I'd be curious to know if he's smacking that button as hard as I was when we interviewed him
yep,
at this point, because this is just, I mean, all credit obviously goes to Northern Colorado for taking care of business and doing it in convincing fashion, but at the same time, Central Valley's got to figure something out.
yeah. I'm seeing Chattanooga fans pretty upset with the way that Ziggy's operating things there in Chattanooga,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not hearing any Central Valley fans aside from the pod
Mm-hmm.
crew. I'm not hearing anything from the fans out there, so they must be so dejected, like they don't even want to show any emotion to. They're so apathetic. They don't even want to show disdain toward their own club.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I mean, you got to figure too, like it. You we kind of already saw this coming, like with everything last season and heading into this season. You knew the front office was going to have to do something out there to get the fans back on their good graces, and they've so far they've stumbled coming out of the gate. Um, and that's unfortunate. Nobody wants to see that. I sure as hell don't want to see that happening. I want every single club here to be drawing 10,000 people, and it's, third division is the new second division in USA. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
it's just so disappointing to see that not only is there a ton of missteps in the front office for Central Valley, but on the field performance just isn't there either. So, like, if you're a fan, what is your reasoning for coming out to a match unless you
Yeah.
just genuinely love the players and love the team? I mean, they're not making it easy for those diehards. I can say that for sure.
Mhm.
Because I know even being a diehard Union Omaha fan, if I had to deal with half the stuff they've dealt with in Fuego, I'd be hard pressed to make it out to a lot of these matches too.
Yeah. Yeah, I drive over an hour to get to Warner Park, and if I had to show up week after week to see that kind of stuff happening, man, it'd be hard to justify spending that much time on the road and that much money on gas
Mm-hmm.
to do that stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, we also got to look at the positives, here too. And Northern Colorado opening up their new stadium with a W, their great attendance, and their continued like surprising run of really high skill play. I mean, I for one didn't see this coming at the beginning of the season for sure. And so the fact that they're convincingly beating teams that they should beat is is a real credit out there to the entire organization, the players and the front office.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen, if you don't follow um, Rico over in Northern Colorado, go find him on Twitter. Let me find his handle really quick. It is at Ricardo, uh, and then his last name is cut off, but it's Comine, and then the number one. Um, so go follow him because he has some field level access and interviews with coaches and players and all that kind of stuff. And he had some good stuff from the match. Um, he had some high praise for Martin Vasquez out of Central Valley. Apparently, the coach was, even though he looked dejected, he was still very very positive toward Hailstorm and was very complimentary of the fans, the front office, and their players. So, I mean, credit to him for showing class like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so moving on from that one, we move to the midweek match, which was Union Omaha and Greenville.
Oh, oh,
Even for a Wednesday match, there was pretty good attendance there.
yeah, 25 33 for that one. Obviously, that's under what Omaha was doing in 2022, but a little bit over their average so far for this season. So that's a pretty decent crowd for a midweek match. Usually see numbers in the 2,000 range, so getting about 500 more fans is it's definitely nice. I mean, and it helped that it was a beautiful day out that day. So um, and it was a good opponent. So
Yeah. And after 90 minutes, the belt stays in Greenville. Union Omaha did strike first, and they did strike often, but Greenville kept coming back and they never said die. So ended up with a 3-3 draw between the two sides.
mhm.
Couple of goal of the season candidates in this match, though. You had Pedro Dolabella getting his goal in the 18th minute. A beautiful shot from outside the box. Um, and then the other goal of the year candidate is going to be in the 76th minute for Greenville's last goal. Jacob Labovitz just snagging a ball straight out of the air, just a one-time volley over the head of Rashid Nuhu into the back of the net.
Yeah, and I mean that goal specifically. I mean it happens to all keepers, but it's kind of shocking to see happen to a season keeper like Nuhu being caught that far outside the box. Um, I know he's probably back there trying to play the sweeper and trying to make sure that, you know, the ball gets cleaned up. But I mean, Jesus, man, you're so far off your line. All he had to do was chip it over you.
Hmm.
And that's just crazy to me that he get caught that far out of position in a match like this.
Yeah.
And even crazier to me that the two goals from Greenville came within 3 minutes of each other. So you have the penalty kick from Devin Boyce, just beautiful Panenka. Um, that you talked to him, Rich, after, and he said that Rashid knows him too well, so he had to do something different. And
Yep.
I mean, that's something different. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think I made the comment on Twitter that I don't think we've seen a Panenka in League One.
I can't remember one. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the league's first Panenka. If somebody else around wants to see, if somebody else remembers, let us know. But um, yeah, Devin Boyce gets a goal and an assist in his return to Omaha.
Yeah, it was a solid performance from Devin Boyce, and um, yeah, it was fun to chat with him very briefly. You know, when he was on his way back to the locker room, and you know, he kind of had that sly grin on his face as he was saying that kind of stuff. But um, yeah, it was good to see him in Warner Park again. Sucks that he was able to be, you know, such a facilitator as he was, but you know, that's what you expect from Devin Boyce. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Frustrating. Definitely a frustrating match. It looked like Omaha had damn near all the momentum
Yeah.
um, at the beginning of the second half, and just killers for Greenville getting those two goals within 3 minutes. So, I mean, all credit
Yeah.
to Greenville. They didn't do the thing I thought they would do, which was try to snag a goal and then sit back. They definitely changed it up and attacked, and
Hmm.
just some more shockingly bad Union Omaha defending
Yep.
again, which is not something Omaha fans are used to seeing. So it hurts a little extra when it's against a rival.
Yeah, it really did. Um, Especially on a night where Noe Meza had 2 goals and an assist. The 2 goals put him back in the Golden Boot race. I think he's just one off
Mm-hmm.
the lead now.
Yep.
And you know, when you have a player on your team that performs like that, obviously you want to celebrate at the end of the night. But when the scoreline doesn't match, you know, that performance,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to want to celebrate, you know, that kind of stuff. Obviously your teammates are going to congratulate you on that kind of performance and that kind of an achievement, but you know, you can't really celebrate as a club. I mean, if you're leading 3-1 in the 70th minute, you're feeling pretty comfortable, you're feeling good, you think you got 3 points, and then to give up 2 goals in the span of 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, that's tough.
Yeah, I feel like if this was the Omaha team from last year, um, you're up two goals in the 70th minute. You feel really good about your chances to finish out that match.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just not this. The defense is not the same. I mean, granted, Omaha is scoring a lot more, and looks like that they can actually attack, but it's the same exact problem that I had a feeling with like Charlotte and North Carolina. It's you can score goals, but you're giving up goals now, which I never thought as a Union Omaha fan that I would be saying that our defense would be the biggest issue that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's quality defenders on that back line too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like, man, I something's got to change.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But again, all credit to Greenville for being down 3-1 and not putting their heads down and going after it and taking that point on the road.
exactly.
This is
Yeah.
definitely more of a important tie for Greenville than it is anything else. Because anytime you go on the road and get a point, it's good. Um, and every time you draw it home, it's obviously the sky is falling and it's the worst thing ever. Um, but not to move too far ahead, but Omaha fans would come to find out that's not the worst thing that can happen at home.
Yep. But before we jump too far ahead, let's get to Charlotte's home match against Chattanooga. Um, Charlotte would end up winning the night 3-0 over Chattanooga. Just completely manhandled Chattanooga. Um, and here is where we have the big problem with the attendance. Is this their all-time low?
I believe this is the all time low. Yes. Let me see if I can find them here. Yeah. So the average this year 1,800. Um,
Wow.
but they are sitting at number 8 overall for their averages and their total like gates, and it's just, man, 107 people.
Okay, so 107 people. And if we've learned a thing or two about some of these attendance figures, there's the full possibility that they're throwing in security, all the club workers that are on site,
Mm-hmm.
the concessions people, the um, I mean the everybody that is in that stadium. So there could be people that are on the clock that are included in that 107.
Mm-hmm.
So to think about that lowering the attendance of the actual fans going through the gates makes it even more frustrating. 107
Mm-hmm.
in Charlotte, and this is the team that is second place in the league right now.
Yeah.
Like, and they haven't been outside of the top two since they haven't been.
I was gonna say that. I was just about to say this is how long it's been, people. If Rich has to go, you heard the papers coming around. Like that's a long ass time.
At the end of week one, they were in third place. From week two to today, they have been in second or first place. And you have 107 fans showing up for a home match. Now, I get it, it's Chattanooga, but at the same time, 107, come on, man. That's stupid. That is stupid, Charlotte. Show up, support your
Mm-hmm.
club.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, and I don't know if that's due to the MLS team being there or if it was like a different commitment, but it's not like this match took place on a random Monday night at 11:30 at night. Like this is a primetime matchup with a team that has a real shot to win the league. And you can't do better than 107 people. And I mean, I don't remember what it looked like on the broadcast, but I can't imagine with 110 people there
Yeah.
or 107 people there that there was that many actual fans in the stands.
And wasn't Charlotte the club that was in hot water over that video that was circulating on social media?
I think it was in Charlotte, but it was
It was North
NCFC.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right.
Um,
Yeah, it was NCFC. Okay.
and
Yeah.
then Tim saying that MLS was out of town that day at Los Angeles, but the weather was shit at that day in Charlotte. I mean, I I get that, but I mean, Omaha fans were out, and it was literally hailing on us in that second match in Caniglia, or first match at Caniglia. Or shit, we had 2 feet of snow the first match, and
Yeah.
then it was hailing on us the second match, and we still pulled over 1,000 people. Like,
Yeah.
there's no excuse that like the weather can't be that shit in a coastal town that you can't go out and support your team.
Yeah.
Especially when last year you were averaging 2,322 people.
Yep.
Like, it's just insane.
But I bet you there's more than 107 people that are tuning in on a weekly basis to watch Wrexham.
True. Again, yeah, Tim makes a good point. Memorial Day weekend, yeah, there's a lot of people traveling, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that aren't traveling too. I mean,
Yeah.
I find the likelihood of 2,000 people traveling for Memorial Day that just also happen to be like season ticket holders for Charlotte are all out of town at the same day. Like, I know Memorial Day is a big like traveling holiday, but at the same time, like, I couldn't tell you the last time I traveled for Memorial Day.
Yeah. Same here. Yep. It's been a while. But
Team got the W though,
yeah.
which
Uh,
you could have figured coming into it. Charlotte,
yep.
Chattanooga. Charlotte's going to take care
Clay,
of business.
Clay Dimmick got another assist, man. That guy is on fire this season.
Yeah, definitely one to be keeping your eye on if you haven't been already.
Yeah. Let me check how many assists he has.
He's got to be getting close up there on the, if not number one in the assist totals.
Where is he at?
So the goals were by Joel Johnson, assisted by Clay Dimmick. The second goal for Charlotte was Omar Sis, unassisted. And the third and final goal from Tresser and Buyu, unassisted. So, you know, the big names making their making their names known yet again for this Charlotte team that is looking really damn good.
Yeah. So Clay Dimmick in 9 appearances has 1 goal, 1 assist, and 6 chances created. So um, not as high as I was expecting. I thought that he was going to be higher up in all of those numbers.
Yeah. I feel like we say his name quite a bit, or we hear
I
his name quite a bit as well.
that's what I was thinking too.
But it must just be more of the facilitation role or the
Yeah,
being in the right position kind of role, which
exactly.
that'll work.
All right, so then Lexington and One Knox had their first matchup in Kentucky. So in week 1, they were in Tennessee. They crossed state borders to go into Kentucky for this edition of the rivalry, and came out with a 1-1 draw and no penalty kicks.
Yay.
Imagine that.
It's actually shocking.
Yeah. There was a first half goal from Lexington and a second half goal from One Knox. Um, the Lexington goal was from Nico Brown, and the One Knox goal was from Jake Keegan.
Mhm.
Both guys that we mention pretty often, especially Jake Keegan.
Yeah.
So for the bottle and barrel update in this rivalry, that's one prize that I'm keeping a close eye on because that's a cool prize.
Hmm.
So in week 1, One Knox defeated Lexington 2-1 at home. And then here in week 11, we have Lexington drawing One Knox 1-1. And they only play one more time. And it's in week 22 on August 18th. And that's when One Knox hosts Lexington. So that's when the rivalry is gonna come to a close in the
Hmm.
regular season.
So yeah. So what happens if Lexington wins 2-1?
Ooh.
Then
So
then they're completely even on wins, and then completely even on goal differential.
maybe they would go maybe the next tiebreaker would be away goals.
Oh, are we gonna do the away goals aggregate score? That's not a bad one. I'd
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Who do you think is gonna? Well, I mean, it's way too. I mean, we're in week 11 or week 12, looking at week 22. But
Oh, I'm thinking chaos. I think
yeah,
Lexington 2-1, just because I want to see what the tiebreaker scenarios are.
yeah,
Let's
that'd be
see.
cool.
Let's see how deep the rabbit hole goes.
And speaking of Lexington, Tyler recently tweeted out that he was looking for suggestions on his coverage of the club, and it was cool to see some responses in there. But make sure that if you are consistently reading his stuff, like Brian and I are and listening to his pod and all of his posts on social media, make sure you let him know the positives and the things that you'd like to see change, all that kind of stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let him know how he can improve his coverage of the team. It's your team, it's your coverage. He wants to make sure that things are done right for you guys. So let him know.
Yeah, definitely, and that goes for our show too.
Yeah,
Anything,
yeah.
anything that you guys want to see or that you haven't or have a suggestion for, just let us know, and we will do our
Yep.
best to facilitate that.
All right, and then another Saturday night match up was Tormenta hosting Richmond. So two founders of League One. Tormenta, the 2022 Cup winner, versus Richmond, the 2022 Shield winner, and came to a draw, 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good attendance though, for especially for Tormenta.
Yeah, 1,104 people. That's right around average for them, and right around their average for last season as well. So, um,
So small town, college town on a
mm,
holiday weekend, and they're able to get over 1,000, 1,100 even.
hmm
So
summer break too,
yeah,
if they even do summer breaks really anymore.
yeah, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know either. I didn't go to college, and my wife did college online. So
But just graduated, so congrats to her.
yeah, she did just graduate. Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate that. I'll pass that on to
Yeah.
her.
All right. And then so the next comes the match that Brian was so eager to chat about earlier. Omaha hosting Madison.
I mean, it wasn't even that I was wanting to chat about it because honestly, like I don't want to talk about it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Omaha lost at home because they couldn't defend very well.
Yep.
And I mean it. I could say sitting in where I do in the stadium, I was pretty pissed. Just Madison played a better game. They knew exactly how to play Omaha and figured them out pretty quickly. Scored in the 14th minute. So, and then it
And that
took.
was
Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. That was a good goal.
Yeah.
Um, it was a good one.
Hmm.
So Stephen Payne feeds him the ball. Aiden Macias evades three defenders, and then he's going at Connor Doyle right around the 18-yard box. And Connor is trying to shepherd him to the outside. You can see him. He has his hips facing the flank, like the sideline. He's trying to do everything he can. But Macias actually touches the ball to get around him and find a window, toward the middle of the field, and unleashes a beautiful curling shot straight to the far corner. And that was a good goal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a whole lot new who could do about that. But
Yeah.
again, suspect defending.
Yep.
Um, it's just been Omaha's game. The only real bright spot in this match for Omaha is Shaft Brewer Jr. getting his first goal
Hmm.
um, for the club, and I mean that dude. I'll be shocked if somebody doesn't pick him up in a higher division next year.
Yeah.
I mean, with the motor he has, and at times he looked like the only dude on the defense that had any sort of ability to stop Madison. I mean,
Yeah.
we sitting in my section. I mean, we see him make a run from the Madison 18-yard box and track back all the way to Omaha's and make a stop. Like he's the only dude on the team right now defensively that looks like they give a damn. Some of the time it feels like.
Yeah.
Um, it helps that he's really good and he's really quick, but I mean something for Omaha's got to change. We were talking about Fuego needing to change something. That defense for Omaha needs to change and fast.
Yeah. So a lot of people hype up, players, when they throw out the generic description of a box to box player.
Hmm.
but Schaffbauer Jr. is a goal line to goal line defender. And usually you will not hear that phrase talked about a defender
Hmm.
very often at all.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he is. He is a goal line to goal line defender.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And I'm kind of surprised that Steven Dos Santos did not get the assist on this one because he was the one who forced that ball into the box. Now, it may have touched a player on the way into the box.
Hmm.
I couldn't tell exactly, but it kind of looked like it touched a Ford Madison player on the way in.
I think so. I think it took a weird bounce back outside. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of hoping they were going to award that assist to Steven Dos Santos, but didn't happen. So, oh
Well, yeah,
well.
and it didn't end up mattering anyway. I mean, Christian Chaney in the 53rd scores the winner for him, assisted by Stephen Payne. And of course, we get to see the backflip yet again in person.
Yeah.
And it sucked this time just as much as it did the first time.
Yep. He's had 3 goals this season, and 2 of them have come against Omaha. And both times he scored against Omaha, he did the backflip. So that's why I made that comment about him opening a gymnastics studio in Omaha.
Uh-huh. Hey,
So
I
yeah,
mean, the form looks really good. So, if the studio's any good, maybe I'll take my daughter out of gymnastics that she's in now and put her in Christian Chaney's School of Gymnastics. She wears pink to gymnastics anyway, so we've already got half the colors done.
there you go. All right, so that was all of week 11 action. And so now we're going to get into some of the general discussions and questions about the season so far. But before we do, League One released a video today where they went along with that trend of I'm passing the phone to blank and insert an insult here or something like that.
Hmm.
So I wanted to run through these. I wanted to get your thoughts on each club's response, and I wanted to see if you wanted to grade them a little bit
Okay.
because I felt like some of the suggestion or the some of the include like some of the comments included in the video, there were really good ones, and then there were ones that were just like stupid. So, but I want to see your comments here.
Okay.
So we start off with Omaha
Hmm.
with JP Skier saying, "We're passing the phone to the USL League One club who won't stop signing players from our title-winning squad." And in the video, you see images of John Murphy, Dalton Knudsen, and Toby Otieno pop up in there.
That's fair. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Okay. Tormenta, they came in and saying, "We're passing the phone to a team who hasn't beaten us in 2 years." Obviously talking about Greenville.
Yeah, that to me is the best one on here.
Yeah, that's a
That
good one.
that's some class shit talking right there.
And then we have Greenville. "We're passing the phone to the League One club who can't create an original kit."
It's middle tier. Well,
Yeah,
if we're doing a tier list, that's about a C.
yeah. That's yeah. They both have the topographical jersey, so
And
yeah.
they neither of them were the first ones to do it. So I mean,
Yep. Um, so One Knox says, "We're passing the phone to the club who puts the L in Lexington."
F, dude, that is horrible. That is the worst one on here. I'm
You're given your rival in this video, and that's what they say.
puts the L in Lexington. I mean, there's not just it's horrible. I don't know what else to really say. Like it's that bad.
And then Lexington says, "We're passing the phone to the club who lets their top scorer in club history become a flamingo."
Yeah, I'm gonna give that like S tier status as well. Only also because they could have said a whole lot worse and held back
Oh
and
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
So I'm giving them another top tier for that one because of the restraint shown.
And then Madison said, "We're passing the phone to the club who thinks they're the coolest, but can't take the heat."
Lame, 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 lame. I mean,
Yeah.
if we just look at the standings right now, Northern Colorado's sitting at 4, Madison's
Oh,
on
I'm sorry.
7.
I'm sorry. That was Central Valley that said that. Sorry.
Central Valley, yeah.
Central Valley that said that. We have Madison. They were the last
Yeah,
one
yeah,
in,
yeah.
but Central Valley saying that about NoCo. Like you just lost to NoCo.
Mm-hmm.
How are you saying that?
It's lame. I don't.
Yeah.
And it's such a layup too. Like, oh yeah, we're fire in your ice. So, like,
Yeah.
got to be a little bit more clever.
And then Northern Colorado saying, I'm passing the phone to the League One club who was close to winning a championship, but still has no cup.
Meh,
Chattanooga.
meh.
Yeah. They could have cut a little deeper on that one.
I mean, it. All they got to do is turn around and just say, yeah, but where were you guys at?
Yeah. And Chattanooga says, we're going to pass the phone to the club who helped us make history last season. Charlotte, that 7-1 victory sure was fun. Can't wait to do it again.
If I had any thoughts that that was even in this realm of possibilities of happening this season, that would be a good one. But no, maybe the opposite way. I could see
Yeah.
that, but no, Chattanooga's not beating Charlotte 7-1.
Yep. And then Charlotte said, we're passing the phone to the 2-time wooden spoon winners, North Carolina.
Fair, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then North Carolina said, we're passing the phone to the League One club who's everyone's second favorite Richmond soccer team.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. And for those who don't understand that one, that's a shout out to Ted Lasso and Richmond, AFC Richmond. So if you
Yeah,
aren't watching that show, it just ended, but go watch it.
that
It's
is
good.
that's some S tier shit talking right there.
Yeah. And then Richmond said, we're passing the phone to the League One club who probably released a kit during this video. Obviously, Madison.
Fair. It's a little played out, but
Yeah.
still fair. I mean, if they didn't put out so many kits, that wouldn't be said as often. But
Yeah.
I think it's almost been said the number of times that they have kits now. So, and that
Yep.
was another one. So maybe that makes it the right one. But
I feel like if somebody put a gun to your head and said, insult Ford Madison, you would just like, kits, something.
mhm.
Yeah. All right. So then Madison said, we're passing the phone to the team that is everyone's least favorite, um, destination to take a road trip. Obviously, they're talking about Omaha. I thought that was weak.
From Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison's a cool town, but if we're saying that Omaha is the least favorite for like a road trip, like, come on, Madison could have cut deeper than that.
And I mean, that's not probably not even that true because does anybody like going from, especially the East Coast teams, all the way out to Central Valley to play a match?
Yeah. They hardly like making the trip from Greenville to Omaha.
Right. And I'm not saying Omaha's a great would be a great road trip. It's probably not an awesome road trip, but I mean, come on, got to give us something worse than that.
Yeah.
You just beat us too.
Yeah.
They just beat us. Why didn't you just say something about that?
Yep.
I appreciate them. Appreciate them not saying it though, because I do appreciate not snapping my phone in half from having to see it again. But so at least they got me on that one.
All right. So we got the video out of the way. Now we get all the questions. I have a bunch of questions here lined up,
Oh
and
boy.
I'm so excited to ask these to Brian. Like I said earlier, he has not seen these. He has not had time to prepare a response. So
Nope.
we're getting fresh takes from him.
I have it the outline pulled up and I see graphs. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna scroll down to the graphs and then I'm not even gonna cheat on this one.
All right. So the first question is multiple choice,
Okay.
but you can always fill in your own if these don't, satisfy your liking here.
Okay.
So, biggest surprise of the first third of the season. The first option of three is North Carolina at number one. They haven't been outside the top two since week 4. they've had 5 straight weeks at number one and 2 weeks at the number two spot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first choice. Second choice is Forward Madison with the longest undefeated streak to start the season. They were undefeated until week 10 when they lost 2-0 to Northern Colorado.
Okay.
And the last one is 4 clubs heading into week 12 having only 2 wins, all having 9 matches under their belt, and only one of them has a positive goal differential. Those 4 clubs are Union Omaha, Lexington, Chattanooga, and Central Valley.
Um, so from my early season predictions, I feel like I have to go with NCFC. I didn't think they were going to be good at all this year, and boy was I wrong. Um, they're they're one of the highest projected playoff odd teams um, out there, and they look good doing it. And I don't, their defense is not nearly as suspect as I thought it was going to be, even in the first few weeks. So, yeah, NCFC for me is the biggest surprise.
Okay. And then the 2 graphs you're seeing there are both from John Morrissey of the USL show.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is before the season started, and the second one is the current state of the league. And that leads into my next 2 questions. Actually, the third graph that you're seeing there in the outline, the left side is the last 5 results, and the right side is the last 3 results. And then I have them broken down by points earned in those matches, and I have them separated by tiebreakers as well. So I
Okay.
went far into separating each club. All right, so using those 3 graphs,
Mm-hmm.
whose stock are you buying?
Northern Colorado, big
Good
time
answer.
Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
Number one in both last 5 and the last 3. Um, outside of them, North Carolina, um, and that's overall, not even just the last 5. Um, I started the season really low on them, and I think it's time to buy stock, even though I'm going to lose a pretty penny on it. Um, I did not buy low, so I'm going to go ahead and buy high right now, and then, but I reserve the right to sell it off if and when they start
That's how it works.
dropping. But yeah, the
All
biggest
right.
one for sure is Northern Colorado. If I had to jump on a bandwagon right now for a team that I really think is going to make the playoffs, Northern Colorado is that team.
Okay. Let's reverse it. Whose stock are you selling?
Right now, Omaha and Greenville.
Yeah.
I did both of these, especially. I mean, oh, I hate to say it, but Omaha is the team. I have more confidence that Greenville can turn it around than I do in Omaha.
Okay.
Omaha's defense has not been great, and
Yeah.
yeah, they can score goals, but I beat that drum all season. I'm going to continue to beat it. What good is scoring a bunch of goals if you let in a bunch of goals? And draws are only going to get you so far, and it's tough because they have the players to do it. But I would just wonder if when they start to gel, it's going to be too little, too late, and be like an FC Tucson type situation last year, where you might start gelling towards the end of the season, but at that point, are you too far out of the playoff picture to make an actual run to it?
Hmm.
It's just exactly like Tucson last year. I mean, was there an outside shot Tucson was going to make the playoffs last year? Yeah, there was. But did anybody, if you put a gun to their head and said, "Do you think Tucson's going to make the playoffs this year?" Honest answer, nobody would have picked them to actually make the playoffs.
Yeah. So to go back to your previous answer when you were talking about whose stock you're buying,
Mm-hmm.
one team that is high on both the last 5 and the last 3. Let me see where they're at on John's graphs here. Um, oh, they just slipped into the playoff on his graph. One Knox.
Mm-hmm.
In their last 5 matches, they have 8 points, and in their last 3 matches, they have 7 points. Um, they haven't lost in, let's see, their last loss was 4 matches ago. So is this a rejuvenated One Knox or is this a fluke?
No, I think it's a one Knox team where you're finally starting to see some of um, the positive points of coming up and keeping the majority of your squad together. Um, so I don't think it's a fluke. I think they're playing better, and I think they're going to continue to play better. Um, what I think is going to be really interesting, and the thing that's going to hold them back is going to be maybe the conditioning aspect of it, having to play so many more games than they're used to.
Mhm.
Um, with these League Two players, granted they're professional athletes now, so that you would think that they should be able to get their conditioning and everything ready to go. But um, if Knoxville is going to miss out on the playoffs, it's not going to be because they don't have the talent to make the playoffs. It's going to be because they don't have the legs to make the playoffs.
Yep. Yep. That playoff line is going to be very crowded by the end of the season.
It's going to be tight for sure.
All right, so let's jump into that then. Give me your top 4 clubs in the league and just like a brief explanation of why each club is in your top 4.
Um, well, I mean, NCFC obviously they've been great all season, um, and I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. Um, the next easy answer is Charlotte. Um, obviously, Charlotte is another one of those teams playing really well. A little bit of a stumble in their past 5 matches with 2 losses and a draw, but North Carolina also has 2 losses in their last 5. So, but they built a nice, decently comfortable lead, sitting at 19 points, 4 over uh, One Knox. I don't have One Knox in my top 4. Like I said, I think they're going to end up dropping off just because of conditioning and the wear and tear of the season. Um, I think they might be coming into their own as a team right now, but I think it's going to taper off a little bit. Um, Northern Colorado would be my third team. Um, just a really solid looking team and doing it without um, Irvin Para.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, I don't know, just because it just came up, I don't know if everybody saw, but they also donated their winnings from the Open Cup to Irvin Para to for his cancer treatments and everything like that. And
So cool.
I also saw that it looks like, if I remember reading it correctly, he's on his last session of it's like chemotherapy that he was going through. So
Yep.
hopefully that's it, and then it's done, and we don't have to worry about that for him, and then he
Yeah.
can focus on getting back out on the pitch because the league is better when its star players are out there playing, and obviously his health and everything comes first. But I think I speak for everybody that says that we want them to want him to get back. So,
Well said. Yep. Totally agree. Well said.
but yeah, Northern Colorado in at number 3. And number 4 is where it gets super, super
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah.
You got 3 possibilities: the Kickers, Tormenta, and Madison, sitting very, very close. Um, Richmond tied with Northern Colorado on points, and Georgia and Madison tied on points. So it comes down to which team do I think is going to be better coming down the stretch. And for me, it's got to be Tormenta. Again, it's one of those things, doing it without arguably your best player on the pitch thus far. Hoping he makes a comeback soon as well. But when Keziah Sterling gets back, I think Tormenta is just going to have that extra level that's going to take them into a nice deep playoff run.
Yeah. A couple comments from Tim in the YouTube chat. Season of Destiny there. I don't know if we have the karma to counter that. And then he also followed that up with, excuse me, pseudo legit take. Noko is playing for something bigger this year. So yeah, that's definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now that you've mentioned the top four,
Yep.
now give me a reason why each of those clubs should be looking over their shoulder.
Ooh. Um, well, I'll start at the bottom. Tormenta, it's the same problem Tormenta had last year. Wildly inconsistent. You get some matches where they look like absolute world beaters, and next matches that they don't look like they should be playing in League One. And I mean, every team has that, but with Tormenta, it's almost like a Lexington style thing where you look really good at times and you look really really poor at times. So, and they're going to be lower on that list of teams to make it in. You only have, let's see, I had them at number 4. So I mean, you only have 2 teams behind you that could possibly pass you up, and with how close, I mean, we have third place through ninth place separated by 4 points right now. So, um, I mean, those, and so the same thing could be said for Northern Colorado. Obviously, you just wonder if they're going to be able to continue the hot streak without a star player, and that goes for both Northern Colorado and Tormenta. So those guys should be looking over their shoulders for that. And for North Carolina and Charlotte, it's the defending thing again. I mean, they're sitting on a 5-goal differential, obviously, but you have a team in Northern Colorado that's sitting on an 8-goal differential right now and has only given up 5 goals all season. So I mean that, and they've scored 13. So, I mean, just looking at it right now, I think 2, 3. Well, I guess it's not too bad, but I just don't have a whole lot of trust in North Carolina or Charlotte's defense to continue to get these. And I think we've seen in the past few weeks that there are some weaknesses there for both of them that could be exploited come a little bit later in the season when there's a little bit more film on each team and you can kind of look back at tendencies. I think those 2 teams are going to have issues.
So you just raised a really good point, and I didn't notice this until now. So credit to you for this one. Uh, the 2 teams who have played the lowest amount of matches so far this season have the lowest amount of goals uh, conceded.
Madison
So
and
Northern,
Northern Colorado at 5. Yep.
yeah,
But I mean, inversely too, you look at Charlotte, who's played 11, has only given up 8. Which
8. So
yeah,
they're still in single digits after
they
11 matches.
yeah they are the third lowest goals
Wow.
allowed,
So
or tied. I
when
guess tied for, or would be third for sure.
do you think Northern Colorado and Madison can stay single digits at 11 matches?
Ooh,
Or is Charlotte's
let's
defense
look and see. So they're at how many matches right now?
Northern Colorado's at 7 and Madison is at 8.
So Northern Colorado plays Lexington, Richmond, One Knox, South Georgia, and then Central Valley to get to that 11 number. They possibly have that chance. Yeah,
They could, yeah.
I could see maybe uh, Northern Colorado doing it. Um, and then as far as Madison sitting on 8, they got 3 more. They play Central Valley, Chattanooga, and then NCFC.
Might be worried about NCFC, but the other 2 I'm not terribly worried about.
I don't I don't even think with NCFC, I don't think they would have enough to break them into the double digits by 11. So no, those
Yeah,
are 2 very stout defensive teams that I don't think are going to be giving up a ton of goals from here on out.
yeah. Man. Oh, that's cool. All right.
But I will say the difference between these 2 teams, Northern Colorado scores goals.
Yeah.
Northern Colorado has 13 goals on the season, whereas Forward Madison only has 9.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Mm, man.
Forward Madison has 9, and 4 of them came in the match against Greenville. So take that for what it is.
Huh. All right. All right. So we have the top four. Now let's move into your middle four. This is where it gets messy as well.
Oh,
And
oh man.
as you give me those four, I
Mm-hmm.
won't ask you why for each one or whatever. Tell just actually I will. Tell me why each fan base should think their club is either half glass full or half glass empty.
Okay. Um, so the middle four, one Knox would be the. I'll go in order like so. Your top, middle, then we'll
Yeah.
move down the list. So one Knox is your first one. I kind of already touched on them. It's I'm gonna say half full because they've played a hell of a season so far, and as an expansion side, that's awesome to see. You just worry about the conditioning and being able to make it the rest of the way. Um, Richmond, again, half full. You're sitting on 14 points after 10 matches. That's not bad. Um, and you look all right doing it. Maybe shore up the defense a little bit, and you should be just fine. Forward Madison, um, you got to score some goals. You're doing great on defense. You got to score a lot more goals, but sitting on 13 points after 8 matches, yeah, you're doing more than fine at that
Yeah.
point. Um, Especially coming off a big win against your rival, which I know you guys were super excited about. And then it's got to be Greenville over Omaha. They come to Omaha, they get the draw, the fight back draw, and they just look like they're on a trajectory that's a little bit better than Omaha's at this point, so that edges them out above them.
So Forward Madison is the first team out.
The first team out's Omaha.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so my top ones would be NCFC, Charlotte, Northern Colorado, South Georgia,
Okay.
and then the next
Mm.
four: one Knox, Richmond, Madison, Greenville.
Yeah. So you had Madison in seventh, so that would put them.
Yeah, yeah, out of the playoffs. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I
So
thought you were
yeah. Yeah.
talking out of. Yeah, nope,
Gotcha.
out of the playoffs. Got it. Yes, Madison
Okay.
be the first team out.
All right. So let's go to bottom four. And as you go through those, tell me why fans of those clubs should have hope.
Okay. Um, Again, we'll work from the top down. So the first team out of the top 8 is Union Omaha. Um, the team hasn't really gelled, and you have to think that the defense should be able to pick it up. I think there's a bit of a DNA issue going on with Omaha that with having to change your system completely like they did and everything like that, and not necessarily changing the core of players on the team. It's going to take some time to get them to gel, but um, you have that to look forward to, and Omaha has done it before, so that's one reason to look forward to it.
Okay.
Lexington, you we've seen it. We've seen that you know how to win big matches and play really well. It's the consistency issue. But as soon as it's the kind of the same thing as Union Omaha. As soon as they figure out how to play consistently, they shouldn't have any problems being able to pick up points and be a well-rounded good team. Chattanooga. Um, you've got continuity, I guess, between Ziggy and his players that he brought in. Um, Again, maybe just takes a little bit more time to gel. Um, and you're not in last place. So that's one
Let me
reason.
see how many more home matches they have because that could be a huge factor for them as well. So they've played 6 matches at home, which means that they have 10
10.
left at home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
10 matches at home. I mean,
Yeah.
that's if you win all of them, that's 30 points.
Yeah.
Take care of take care of business a couple times on the road, and you'll be sitting around that line. So it's possible because those fans are real fans out there. There ain't 100 fans going to those matches. It's way more than that. So
Yep.
the den will be defended with the supporters out there. Central Valley. Still have a team. You're only 1 point out of 10th place. So, and in the last 5, you have won one. So, yay. Got 2 wins on the year. I'm reaching. Just not a whole lot, man. Central Valley fans, I feel for you right now. I wish it wasn't this way, but this is kind of just how it is right now. You can be optimistic that you're going to have beautiful weather the majority of the season. That's really all I got.
Nice. All right.
I'm sorry, Central Valley.
All right. So a few weeks ago, you said that you felt like things were calming down and that the table was maybe less chaotic. Do you still feel that way? Or do you
Mm,
still feel there's more chaos ahead?
I mean, there's definitely more chaos ahead, but I think you see teams are starting to distinguish themselves as contenders and pretenders. Obviously, in the contender slot, the top 4 teams right now are probably all contenders, really, at this point, and you could put them in the solid contender category. NCFC, Charlotte. I think most people would agree that those 2 teams are probably going to make the playoffs, barring something
Yeah.
catastrophic.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not high on One Knox, but I can also see that they are playing really well right now. So if they can continue that, obviously they could be a contender. And Northern Colorado, we just talked about them, same exact reason.
Yeah.
Now where it gets a little difficult is when you go 5 through 10. I think anyone out of Richmond, South Georgia, Madison, Greenville, Omaha, and Lexington could sneak into those bottom 2 playoff spots. So that is actually where the biggest thing for me is going to be is that 5 through 10 slot, because I don't foresee Chattanooga or Central Valley doing a whole lot in the league this year. I thought I had to sneeze and I think it's going away, but so those 2 for me are pretty much, I'm not going to say they're out because there's obviously only a third of the way through the season, but unless something changes fast, those 2 are going to fall pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be chaos in that 5 through 10 slot the whole rest of the way. The top 4 you might interchange, teams might jump, teams might drop 1 or 2 spots, but I don't see any of those 4 not making the playoffs with the exception of One Knox.
Mhm. All right. So now I have 5 true or false questions for you. And I
Okay.
put a little bit of data in there to help you with your decision, but they aren't like subjective, data stuff. So,
Okay.
all right. So the first one is true or false. A former League One Cup winner will miss the playoffs this season, excluding North Texas, obviously.
Mm-hmm. True.
True. Okay. And then the next one is a former League One Shield winner will miss the playoffs this season.
True.
Okay.
But both of those teams are in this list.
Okay. And then there will be a new goalkeeper of the year in 2023.
True.
Okay. Who are you leaning toward?
Oh,
We're going to talk about keepers here in just a little bit, but I
there's
just want
there's a couple.
because you got
It's got to be
like
Pack and Delgado. They've got to be the front runners right now.
Delgado, you got Burnt Shipman out of Madison, you got Rashid Nuhu, Austin Pack,
I,
Lalo Delgado.
I feel like for this one, it really feels like Nuhu's not gonna win it again this year
Yeah,
because the defense is not nearly as stout as it has been,
yeah,
and great defenses make a keeper's job easy.
yep.
So I think Nuhu's gonna have to be standing on his head quite a bit to have Omaha make that run, like
He's going
they
to
want to.
have Akira Fitzgerald level heroics.
Yeah,
Pull that
yeah.
off. All right, next one. So we went from goalkeeper of the year. We'll go flip it, and we'll look at Emiliano Terzaghi. Emiliano Terzaghi will not win a single individual award at the end of the season.
False. I still think he makes the first team.
Okay. Because here in the notes, in 2020, 21, and 2022, he was the MVP winner. He won the Golden Boot, and he was first team All League. So,
Yeah, I don't think he makes MVP or Golden Boot this year, but
okay. Next true or false question. Central Valley will not win the Wooden Spoon this season.
oh, false. Central Valley's winning it.
Okay.
I'm already going to get it engraved and send it to him.
All right, so now we're playing this game. It's kind of like fuck, Mary kill, but
Okay.
we're gonna substitute those three because we're not gonna get into that. We're gonna do start, sub, and sell.
Okay.
All right, so we'll start with the goalkeepers.
Okay.
The three that I'm going to give you are Austin Pack out of Charlotte, Lalo Delgado out of Northern Colorado, and Rashid Nuhu out of Omaha.
Start Pack. Sub in Delgado and sell Nuhu.
Okay. And then let's look at the chance creators. We have Luis Heel out of Omaha. We have Jackson Corey out of Tormenta, and we have Arthur Rogers out of Northern Colorado.
Oh. Start Heel because his game is more evolved, I feel like, than the other two. I think he's a better facilitator than the other two, and can do more around the field and not just in a single position. Sub in Arthur Rogers and sell Jackson Corey.
Okay. Now let's move up to the top line and talk about some goal scorers. So we have Trevor Amon out of Northern Colorado. We have Rafa Mensingen out of Chattanooga, and we have Olix Anderson out of North Carolina.
Oh, I'm starting Rafa. Was banging Rafa's drum last season too, wondering why the hell he was coming off the bench. So I'm never putting Baby in a corner again. Like, no, he's starting on any team. If I have the chance to get Rafa Menzigen starting, he's starting. And then I'm gonna sub in Trevor Amon and sell Olex Anderson.
Right. All right. So that was all the questions that I had. I easily could have thrown in a lot more. We'll save that for the mid-season breakdown. We can do some fun questions there too.
Tim
Um,
Howerton has a question here for you, Rich.
ooh,
Who
okay.
who is Mary Kill?
Mary kill. Nice. I like it.
It's a good one, Tim.
Yep. All right. So as we look ahead to the matches this Saturday, all for week 12, every one of them takes place on Saturday evening. We have 6 matches. Every team plays once. Um, We have Charlotte hosting Omaha at 4 o'clock Central Time. We have Greenville hosting Tormenta at 6 p.m. Central Time. Lexington hosting Northern Colorado at 6 p.m. Central Time. Richmond hosting Chattanooga 6 p.m. Central Time. And then we have One Knox, hosting North Carolina at 6:30 Central Time. And then Madison hosting Central Valley at 7 Central Time. Some good matchups there.
Yeah. What I'm actually looking forward to, actually two that I'm really looking forward to is the Greenville Tormenta, because those games are always nuts.
Yep.
Just you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know anything about that match. Nobody ever does. And then a sneaky good match is going to be Lexington and Northern Colorado.
Yep.
Again, it comes down to what Lexington team shows up. If the good Lexington team shows up, that is a force that can take on this Northern Colorado squad, which is really good. Excuse me. But it all depends on them. It depends on what team shows up.
Yep. And I'm kind of eager to check out the One Knox versus North Carolina, because for One Knox, I mean, this is a match where you can really solidify your stake as a pretender or as a contender.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be a big one for them.
Yeah,
That'll be fun to watch.
yeah. That is a prove it match if there ever has been one.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm not even gonna pile on Central Valley. Never mind. Sorry. Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, those are the matches for week 12. We will certainly have more shows here coming up very soon. We'll have more stuff that we're going to be putting on social media. So make sure to follow us on Twitter. Um, week 12 is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We'll be able to review a bunch of this next week. So, yeah, we're looking forward to all the action.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to hearing everybody who hated the things that I said about your club coming back and yelling "I told you so" over Twitter after your team does what I said they wouldn't do. So looking
Yep.
forward to that as well.
You know, there are people like Bolt and Geo who are collecting receipts as we speak.
I know, I know.
Even
Sorry.
Tyler was collecting receipts. Last season and even early stage of this season, he was collecting those receipts
Mm-hmm.
too.
I mean, yeah, when I'm wrong, man, I'll fully admit it. So, and I was wrong on North Carolina and Charlotte at the beginning of the season till now. So,
Uh,
what are you gonna do, man? You win some, you lose some. I'm not a
yep.
professional.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of League One on the Rocks. Whether you're watching or listening, we appreciate you taking the time to give us some of that time of your day. So thank you very much. We look forward to giving you more stuff to discuss here in the future, whether it's stuff we put on social media or stuff here in these podcast episodes. So we're excited to keep everything coming at you.
All right, yeah, we appreciate you guys, and just keep an eye out, like Rich said, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Have a good weekend.